Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Stadium Rant proudly presents to you the most electrifying wrestling show in the world. We are your hosts, the Big Show, Shakin' Big, the Nard Dog, Bernard Green, the Professor Nicholas Mulick. We are the Ringside Boys. This is Ringside Rant. There's so much to talk about this week. We're taking a trip all around the WWE, trying to keep about wrestling as much as possible. Hulk Hogan's in the spotlight again. Not so great for him. Mark Henry, again, in headlines. Not so great for him. He's on the podcast. He's in headlines more than Hulk Hogan is nowadays. But Roman, Jacob Fatu, that stare down was awesome. We're going to get into that. There was some stuff on Monday Night Raw. The Wyatt Six are cooking, and some fans are potentially very nervous. But we can talk about all of that later before we get into any of it. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Been an interesting sort of week, especially in the wrestling world. We'll get to why in a little bit, but before we start, I gotta ask, like you guys have probably seen in the thumbnail, we got a milk carton out here of someone who's been missing lately, and we're kind of worried about where he's been. Like, guys, where the hell has Dragon Lee been? Like, it's been like 2 months and we haven't seen him on TV.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
listen, that seems to be a main staple of the thumbnail, something I worked on and something we will talk about. We might as well kick it off. We're just going to talk about a lot of stories going on in WWE because let's be honest, going into Bash for Berlin, it's not that heavy story driven right now. It's a couple of things going on and then it's just kind of, this is a news week. Chat, this is a news week, okay? So we're going to have some fun, talk about some cool stuff. We're going to get some story time with the professor. Going to tell us something, a little funny story about UBS Arena and their shortcomings, as it were. But Dragon Lee, the man of the hour, sound the alarm. Dragon Lee's missing. We haven't seen him in 2 months. He hasn't even been on a house show in over a month. His wife's pregnant. I don't know if that has something to do with it. I don't know if there's a minor injury that they're just letting him heal. And it's on top of having a kid, so they're just like, go take time. Maybe we're hearing a lot more Triple H caring more about family stuff than Vince McMahon ever did. So maybe that is the case, and I hope Dragon Lee will be back soon. But, I mean, I'll give my take on it first, and you guys can kind of give your thoughts. I was a big Dragon Lee fan. I watched him in NXT. I'm not a big indie guy. I don't know where he came from before that, but I watched him there. I liked him from the beginning. I liked how they put him with Rey Mysterio, dubbed him the future of Lucha Libre. I thought that was awesome. He can cut it in the ring. Maybe he needs to work on his character, but I like Dragon Lee, and I need to see him in some meaningful moments. I don't think he needs to win huge matches yet, but I think he needs to be in bigger matches and look good in them. Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, for example, Money in the Bank, they didn't win, but they look phenomenal and both got a boost from it and have a meaningful story now. So something like that for Dragon Lee, that's what I'm kind of looking for. Bernard, what are you thinking about our man?
Dragon Lee. Well, yeah. First off, what you said on there, which I've been reading earlier, that Dragon Lee and his wife are expecting a baby girl. Congratulations to them. Um, yeah, I kind of miss him in the ring too. I think he's a phenomenal character. I like how Ray willing to put him over as the next Lucha Libre of wrestling in the WWE, and I do believe that his future is bright. Um, I don't know when he gets back, but I think he needs to get back as soon as possible.
Professor, I know you were the one who originally brought this story to our attention.
Yeah, and then it's been a while.
Yeah, like I was just like, hey, wait a minute, he has been gone a while, hasn't he? And how you feeling about it? I know you must feel away.
Yeah. First off, congratulations to the Lee family for the new addition to their family.
Yes.
That's fantastic news. But the thing with Dragon Lee, and he's a phenomenal professional wrestler. He's phenomenal. Him and his brother Roosh, they're both great. But here's my thing with Dragon Lee, because excluding the stuff with the LWO, they've barely done much with him. And they no offense to Mr. Lee, he deserves to get called up, but they called him up a little too early. They called up Dragon Lee a little early, and I like him with the LWO is great, but like besides that, they haven't really done much with him. And I'll say this: if he's not a part of the Intercontinental Championship tournament, I don't know what to say there. I maybe it's because it's family related. I don't know if it's injury related because like the minor injury he was wrestling with it. I don't know if he aggravated. I hope not, but like it is at the point where it's getting a little concerning. But hopefully it's just because of the baby that's coming, the new addition, and getting ready. Because I don't want anything bad going on with him or creative has nothing planned for him. So it's just the baby stuff that's keeping him out. And again, I'll end. Congratulations to Mr. Lee. Addition to your family, and wish you guys luck. And I can't wait to see you back on TV when it comes. But as we still need to keep this milk carton out.
Yeah, listen, we're looking for our boy. If you see him, give us a call. We're very concerned about him. In the future, for stuff like this, I plan to get an alarm alert added to the stream. Something to look out for. Dragon Lee, we will celebrate his return whenever that is. I like that take out of you. That you need to see him in the Intercontinental Championship tournament, or else you're kind of worried. And I think that's a really great take, honestly, because why wouldn't you be worried? He should be in that spot. Maybe not winning, like I said, because ultimately he'd be squished by Breaker, and at this point he really can't take that. It's better to have a good match and lose in the tournament.
Sorry, yeah, you don't want to be Ricochet and Brock Lesnar level squash, which that killed Ricochet immediately, and he never recovered. And yes, he was Intercontinental Champion. Yes, he held titles, but since he got squashed by Brock Lesnar, he was never the same. And then he lost to Riddick Moss, who at the time they lost, we didn't even know who this guy was. And Riddick Moss is he's a solid pro wrestler. Not great, solid, but like when he lost to him, he's gone. And now he's in AEW. Wish him luck. But yeah, I need to see Dragon Lee. He's not on Raw because they are holding an Intercontinental tournament, which no matter who wins that tournament, you're not beating Braun Breaker. Like it's way too early. The only person I want, well, two people I've said that I want Braun Breaker to lose that title to are either John Cena, even though we won't be able to see him take it, or, and this is probably the most likely, I would love to see Sheamus take that title away from him.
Yeah.
So he could be Grand Slam champion, but we'll see. That's not going to happen until probably Mania or maybe Royal Rumble time. So
a lot of time till then. We did talk a little bit about some NXT stuff. We did have a little bit on the docket. We're not going to leave them out. Hot Young Start. We talked about the women's division in NXT a few weeks ago and how we all agreed it's severely underrated. And now a new budding star has emerged. Everybody seems to like her. She has a shot at the NXT women's title. Jada Parker. Let's talk about it. Bernard, go ahead, man.
Yeah, the past few weeks I was watching NXT. Let's just say Jada Parker is starting to grow on me. I like her style. She got like that brawl hood type attitude going, and she's been on a tear. In NXT. I like the matches that she put up with Michin and the other ladies and when I found out she was going to be in the NXT #1 contender gauntlet match, I already knew right off. I said it has to be her. Jada has to win. And I was doing something, and then that's when I said, "Here's your winner." Jada Parker. I said, "Yep." I said, "I knew what she's doing." So I'm happy for Jada Parker. I'm looking forward to this match. At No Mercy against Roxanne Perez. I would say, best of luck to you, Jada, if you're watching this, and just look forward to your match.
She's great. I think I was cheering for her. I wanted her to win. She's really very underrated with the NXT brand, but I still think Sol Ruka's the best in that division. She is, my God, her finisher is one of the best finishers I've ever seen. She's also using a little bit of the Young Bucks moves, and I think she does it better. She's that good. But yeah, I'm happy for Jada Parker. She deserves this. Will she take the title off of Roxanne? I don't know, because I still think Roxanne needs a few more months in NXT before she gets the rub. But I want, especially Bernard. I want to see what you think. Like, do you think Jada will take the title, or do you think they're gonna give Roxanne a few more months?
Here's my thing, and Shake Big, you can go on after this too. Here's my thing. I think it's gonna be an awesome match, but I think Roxanne has the edge over Jada. And like I said, I think she's gonna hold the title for a few more months until the big two, Stephanie Vega and Julia come to the States, make their debuts, and I predict either one of them, whether Jada, not Jada, whether Julia, or if it's Stephanie Vega, they're gonna take the title off her, and I say I give it to maybe um after Royal Rumble, like when Royal Rumble season, the NXT pay-per-view, and I think Roxanne's gonna challenge whoever takes the title off her around Mania season, and then she gets called up to the main roster.
That is, I totally forgot about that because Julia's on the way now that I think she's done with Marigold now. I still want Sol Ruka to take that title off of Roxanne, but it makes a lot of sense to have Julia or Stephanie take.
So I think I'm going to combine A and B here, right? Or N and B, Nicholas and Bernard here. All right?
Mhm.
I like it. I like Julia or Stephanie taking it off of Roxanne because you want to make it seem like it's someone insane taking it off of her. And Julia has that cred. She's not a no-name coming in, respectfully to Sol Ruka. Like, not many people knew who she was coming into NXT. Pretty much everybody watching NXT is going to know who those two are. So you have one of those two beat her, and then you build Sol Ruka next, right? So you have her go after Stephanie or Julia, and that would make her look really good because those two, to be honest, after a few months in NXT, they're going to be main roster ready anyway. So I think you two, between the both of you, you're hitting the nail on the head. I think Sol Ruka is a really bright star down there, and, you know, not to get away from the point, Jada Parker, congratulations. She's phenomenal as well. But yeah, the future is bright down there, that NXT women's division. A little doom and gloom future. Shout out to the chat, by the way. JC, Trey, how we doing, fellas? Thanks for stopping by. Always chatting. I love to see it. Would love to hear your takes too, chat. Don't be shy. Don't feel like you gotta, but if you got something to say, by all means, we might shout you out if we like it, you know. But doom and gloom future. Nia Jax and the Queen of the Ring, her coronation as the new Women's World Champion.
What the hell was that? I'm sorry, I don't interrupt you. What the hell was that on SmackDown? I mean, seriously. First off, Pretty Deadly is pretty dead. Like, why you have these two go out there? Because it's been a while since we've seen these guys on television, and go out there like fools, like singing some sort of ridiculous tune is insanity. And why give Nia Jax this stupid entrance on a random SmackDown? Like, why? Why? You could have waited till the pay-per-view in Berlin. And by the way, the only positive here, it was Tiffany Stratton, because I think and they better get this title off of Nia Jax, because what I'm seeing now is garbaggio. My God, whoever wrote that segment with Nia Jax, or that promo as a whole, you gotta be ashamed of yourself, because that was bad. That was awful. Shame on you. Sorry, you guys go.
Bernard, take it away, sir.
Look. Well, first off, here's my opinion on it. First off, like the way how they presented her as queen and new women's champion, I thought it was pretty cool. I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was pretty cool. Naya look, stunning, and the only thing what fucked the whole thing up is, like you say, Nicholas, the whole Pretty Deadly thing, and they sing that song. First of all, let's start with the theme of her celebration. Naya is the type of woman that doesn't like all girly girl colors, meaning pink. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but she doesn't look like she's not into the girly girl colors and all.
She said that,
Number two, the unicorn. I like, if this is a celebration or this is a 6-year-old birthday party. You know what I'm saying?
I said, what the New Day doing here?
That too. And what messed it all up is that Pretty Deadly like trying to do that little sing along and all. Nia wasn't feeling it. Hell, I wasn't even feeling it myself. It's like number one, they were off tone, they were off beat, which messed up the whole thing. What the only coolest thing that came out of it is that Meechin came out of nowhere with the kendo stick and started beating the shit out of everybody.
You mean Mia Yim? Because I'm sorry, I'm never calling her Meechum. That name is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
and I
all
hate
right.
that
Wait,
they
that's
changed
the
her name.
nickname.
I'm not calling her that. I'm sorry. No offense to Mr. Yim. She's a nice lady, and she's very good in the ring. But I will not be calling you Meechum. But my God, I'm sorry. I hate to say this. This is a waste of time feud. I do not believe in Mia Yim one bit against Nia. I doubt she takes this belt off her. Like, we're wasting time here. We are wasting time, and I'm glad Mia Yim gets some time on TV. But like, just cash the damn briefcase already. I do not want to see a promo like this on TV weekly because I was ashamed. I was ashamed, especially, and I loved Pretty Deadly too, but I don't see how you recover from this. I don't. And then again, they've been dead since I think Kit Wilson got his shoulder injury.
Mhm.
Ever since that happened, they've gone downhill.
That was
downhill.
That was so funny though. They had that perfect build. They were pushing him around in a wheelchair for a soldier injury. I was dying weekly.
It was funny.
I couldn't wait for them to come back. And then they did nothing with them. Just like the Street Profits. They did nothing with them. It's just fail after fail after fail on SmackDown. And that's why I picked Monday Night Raw. But Nia Jax stinks. I gave her flowers, congratulations, but now reality has set in over a week later. The coronation was a failure. She didn't even come out of it looking that great. She looked goofy and dumb. If she had absolutely dominated and beat the living hell out of Pretty Deadly, and I believed her to be stronger out of that, that would have been awesome. But that's not what happened. And I don't think the issue was Pretty Deadly, because Pretty Deadly did what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to be off tone and not supposed to be there, because that was the whole thing. They were trying to push their Pretty Deadly the musical, and they were supposed to be annoying and get their ass beat, and Nia did not deliver. And thank God for Tiffany Stratton, because I got to be honest, if it weren't for her, I would not be watching more than the last half hour of SmackDown, and you can quote me on that.
No kidding.
Oh,
And
wow.
I got to say this too as well. And JC, thank you for saying in the chat, the way they filmed her entrance was like that was bad. They weren't even carrying her.
That was disrespectful to show that you could see that they were rolling. That was disrespectful. They should not have done it like that.
And one other thing too, wouldn't this have been the perfect time for Charlotte Flair to make her like appearance and cash in her Charlotte in the Bank briefcase? I'm sorry, it's a queen coronation. Everyone knows Charlotte Flair to be the queen of the ring. And this would have been the perfect time for her to cash, because we know it's coming. We know Charlotte's going to cash in her Charlotte in the Bank. She does this all the time. And I don't understand where they're going here. I don't care about this feud with her and Mia Yim. I don't care. I just want Nia Jax to drop this belt to Tiffany Stratton. I'm sick of this already. I don't know who wrote this segment, who planned this segment, who filmed this segment, but that was bad. But besides that, SmackDown was still a pretty fun show, excluding the Nia Jax stuff.
Listen, and then I pointed right to it. The last 30 minutes, the only thing that you cannot afford to miss on SmackDown. Anything else, go ahead on WWE.com and just watch the replay. It doesn't matter if you miss it. But Jacob Fatu squaring off with Roman Reigns is must-see television, and is the only thing that has been keeping SmackDown afloat is Roman Reigns. The only reason we cared about Bloodline 2.0 is because we knew Roman was coming back. And let's be honest, it's been the same. There's been no pulse throughout that Bloodline 2.0. Jacob Fatu was gone for a couple weeks. They were dead in the water. He's back. All of a sudden, We care again. Roman, Jacob Fatu, that is going to feed generations. I cannot wait for that match. It's going to be a pay-per-view. They just put Roman through a table. You think he's not going to have a response this Friday night? If you think that, you are off the pack, and give me 2 of them, because that's the best stuff I ever smoked ever. They are not good. If it weren't for Roman.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you too, Shake Bait. Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, that's almost, or you can may as well say that's box office, type stuff. The pay-per-view, I would do a Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns and Triple H. They said Triple H listen to everything. So Triple H, you have to come across this video. I know you're gonna book a Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. Do it at the Royal Rumble. I say that is the next closest, biggest pay-per-view that's coming up in upcoming months in the new year. I think they're gonna do a Roman versus Solo at Bad Blood, and I think go to Bloodline Civil War at War Games. But Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, Royal Rumble main event or co-main event. And like I said, I think Jacob Fatu is just overshadowing Solo as the dominant force in that bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Solo. Like I said, I know I said it 100 times. I'm saying it again. I'm just not into him in this new character as the new tribal chief, where his, the Tonga twins are carrying, help carrying the bloodline. Like I said, Jacob Fatu is more dominant out of all of them put together, in my opinion. But like I said, Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, Triple H, WWE, do it at the Royal Rumble. That's all I say.
Bernard, you took a lot of my words from my mouth, man. That was well done. I want to say one thing too, to add. First off, that was amazing with Fatu doing what he was doing while wearing the boot. Thank God he's healthy. I am so happy that he's not, because going back to SummerSlam, when we were both reacting to it live, Bernard, I was nervous that he was going to be done, because that
Yeah.
bad. And the fact he's good, thank goodness. But I'll say one thing. I hope they kick Solo Sikoa out of this group, add Hikuleo to the group. Tama Tonga becomes the new quote-unquote tribal chief, because they've been teasing it. They've been looking at the Ulafala. I think that would be a great idea to have the Solo Sikoa get betrayed, have the Tama Tonga become the new quote-unquote tribal chief, and then have the Tongans, Hikuleo being added, Jacob Fatu, and then you do Solo Sikoa, the Usos, and Roman Reigns at War Games. Sorry, I tried to do William Regal War Games there. I'm not as good as him.
No one can do a William Regal War Games except for William Regal.
I want him to say War Games this year. I want him back on TV to say War Games. He's great at that. But yeah, I like where this is going. Fatu's great. I'm so glad that you guys are starting to see what I was seeing in MLW, and I want Jacob Fatu there. They haven't had him cut a promo yet. His promo skills are so great. I cannot wait till he finally gets on the mic and has a promo. You guys are going to love it. I love what they're going for here. And yeah, shout out to JC. Zilla could make his WWE debut soon. It's not confirmed he's signed yet, but that could happen if they still say we're in the third inning, which I call nonsense on. I think we're in inning 6 now. But
we're moving along.
Yeah, I like where this is going. But if Jacob Fatu was knocked out long term, storyline would be over. I'm sorry. This storyline would be gone. Because no offense to Solo Sikoa, I'm not feeling him. Tongaloa is terrible. I'm sorry. He stinks. And I love Tongaloa in New Japan, but he's just been disappointing. Tama Tonga is still I think the second best part of that faction.
Yeah.
If Jacob Fatu went down, everything would have went downhill. But yeah, love what they're doing here.
So here we go, gentlemen. That pretty much wraps up the in-ring stuff. We're going to break it up a little bit here before we get into the main event of the evening. Our very first installment of Story Time with the Professor. Nicholas has a wonderful story to tell us tonight about a crazed fan who found his way to somewhere he shouldn't have been, in a company that may not be as reputable, in an arena that is most certainly not. Professor, take it away.
Okay, so who's ready for story time with Professor Mullock, baby? Yeah, I'm gonna start with that from now on.
Yes.
So not a lot of people know this unless you've seen my LinkedIn profile. I used to work at UBS Arena, and UBS Arena hosts AEW events on occasion. So this was during a time when AEW was first there, and I believe they were hosting like Dynamite. I think Rant. I don't remember if Rampage was the thing. I can't remember off the top of my head, but AEW was there. All of a sudden, what made people forget in 2021, a fan snuck into the back of the arena, like in the locker room. Not because of AEW security, but UBS Arena security. I wasn't there, but I do know people who were there, and they've told me the story. So this guy just manages to walk by there, convinces them that he's an extra, doesn't show that he has a pass, doesn't show he has this, doesn't show that he's legit. So they just allow him to go back in the back. And he's back there just walking around, looking at all the chairs and everything. All of a sudden he like grabs this like a tire to go out in the ring and try to have a match. And he's cutting it up like it's Jeff Hardy. All of a sudden he sits in a seat in the locker room. And this is insane. He sits in the seat, and Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Dax Harwood of FTR go up to him. And he's like, "You're sitting in my seat." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then they start to realize the jig is up. Like, what is going on? This guy is not real. And they asked, "Who trained you?" Like, everyone asks who trained you, who's booked you, who got this. You want to know what this guy says? I've told you guys, but you want to know who this person says, like, trained him? Jeff freaking Hardy. Jeff Hardy was employed at WWE at the time. He wasn't even anywhere near AEW. He doesn't train. He doesn't do this. So he's getting all of his stuff on, like, trying to convince these people, oh, like, like, I'm an extra. I'm going to go out to the ring and maybe have a match. And then he's like, oh, but I know Taz. Now, Taz is actually a Long Islander. And fun fact, Taz actually goes to my church, which is a fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
I don't, and I've told you a story. His son went to my high school. I was high school. Like I don't know the guy, but I went to high school with Hook.
That's funny.
That's a fun fact. I never spoke to the guy. Hi-bye relationship. I move on. With my life. High school wasn't fun for me. So this guy's trying to convince. Oh, Taz got me booked on the show. Taz basically says to them, "No, this guy's full of it," and this guy gets kicked out. Like, he's thrown out of the building. They got his photo. They talked to him. They banned him from the arena. Next time AEW has an event, this is when I'm fully like, I used to be in the premium section of that arena. I know that building a lot, and the premium sections. While I'm at that building and going around, they talk about, everything, the event, what to do, what not to do, the normal stuff before events. All of a sudden, they show this photo of the guy to everybody saying, if you see this man, please notify security and let them know that he can't be in the building, or that he can't do this and that he can't do that. Think about that. Think about, like, I'm in the premium section and they're telling us to watch out for this guy who, oh, by the way, never had a premium ticket to get to this event. He was just a normal, fan. And they're showing this photo around to everybody, and they're like, hey, you see this photo? If you see this guy, let us security and let us know. I'm like, I'm in the premium section. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just watching. I'm down at the suites. I actually got to see a whole AEW show that night in the front. So, and I didn't get to see this guy because the guy was banned. But it's crazy. They have this photo. They have everything. But the security, the UBS Arena security, let this guy go without checking his pass, that he has anything. They were convinced that this guy was an extra. And spoiler, this isn't the first time they've done this at other events. And that's a story for another time. But that's my story about how an AEW fan snuck into the building. Yeah, it's insanity. What do you guys think of that story?
It
I
kind
mean,
of
it's
reminds
pretty
me.
dangerous.
Right.
No kidding, it's dangerous.
Yeah, like, I mean, luckily he was just an idiot, probably just trying to be around wrestlers and like have a cool story when he gets drunk with his
Oh no,
buddies.
he was trying to get in the ring. He was like grabbing clothes around. He was cutting it up like Jeff Hardy. And then when trying to explain to MJF and Dax Harwood that he was trained from Jeff Hardy, he was trying to show his. I shouldn't laugh at this, but he was trying to explain like, oh, Jeff Hardy trained me, and I know Taz. He's my agent. Like, my God. Wow. It's insanity how this guy was able to do that. And he's banned. I don't know if they still have his photo. They probably do. But the fact that every AEW show that I worked at the time, they showed his photo around saying, hey, watch out for this guy. And keep in mind, this is an arena where it's packed. Like, almost every arena is packed. And it's hard to, it's so challenging. But it's just a crazy event. I still can't believe that this was a thing, that it actually happened. But yeah, that concludes story time with Professor Mullock. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. If you want any questions about it, let me know. I can always, answer some questions.
For sure, gentlemen, and on to some not so great news. Let's start with a little bit. I don't know which one is a lighter of a conversation here, but here we go. Mark Henry had some comments when he was asked about, the Vince McMahon allegations and all these people popping up and all of a sudden having things to say about it, but all this and the other. And when he was asked about it, Mark Henry basically said that in summation, he kind of thinks people are lying and trying to get some attention, maybe. His quote, I'm paraphrasing. I shouldn't say I'm quoting him. I'm paraphrasing. He said nobody was saying anything when they were getting all this money in these BMWs and stuff like that. It's not a good look. You can't say stuff like that. Maybe that's how you feel. It's something I expressed when we initially talked about this as a group. Maybe he feels like he owes a lot of his life to Vince McMahon, and I'm sure that's true. I'm sure a lot of wrestlers do. But in situations like this, if you just can't say anything, and I don't blame Mark Henry for feeling like he owes Vince McMahon something and feeling something positive towards him for changing his life, XYZ. I understand all that. I really do. But what I don't understand is why you choose to speak up and say that nobody would be surprised if these things were true and that they finally feel comfortable enough to say that these things happened, to don't just go and say, oh no, they're probably lying. It's just a little weird that all of a sudden, and they never said anything back then. Well, back then, Vince McMahon could have ruined their lives. Wholeheartedly. He had every asset in the book to completely ruin anyone's life that spoke a word out of turn. And I think Mark Henry's very blind, and Nicholas said it, tone deaf for saying the things he said. And you can't just go around saying things like that. And now that Vince has clearly lost power, does not have control over these people anymore, maybe they had some conversations and people were like, hey, you're still struggling with this. You're not okay with this. Speak up and speak your piece. Get what you can off of your chest. Get whatever, kind of better feeling you can out of it. It's just, Mark Henry, man, you got to do better. And you were a guy I respected, and that's kind of wild for you to say that. And, I had similar feelings about Vince McMahon, right? He created this thing we love. He created this thing that we talk about for an hour every single week about. And we have watch parties on premium live events, you know what I mean? If you want to check it out. But it was hard for me to read that stuff and kind of come to terms with the fact that that was all true. But the more I think about it, it's like it probably is. And if this many people, if it was one or two people, right, you're like, okay, maybe they're just trying to get money. But There's a lot of people saying the same stuff. And when a lot of people are saying the same things, it's usually the truth. Gentlemen, the floor is yours. Nicholas, how you feeling, brother?
Well, I gotta say this first. Mark Henry is a smart guy. Like the one thing that comes across with Mark, he's a very, very smart guy. There's no taking that away. And I've never heard a bad thing about the guy once. But Mike, I cannot believe he legit said that. And you want to know what his comments sort of sounded similar to? How she, people complain when they weren't getting paid, or like they probably shouldn't never taken the payment or something like that. You know who said something similar like that? Tommy Dreamer, when the Dark Side of the Ring on the plane ride from hell happened.
Yeah.
Did he not learn the lesson of what happened with Tommy Dreamer? Of how he's saying something. And look, I get he loves Vince. I get that. He probably changed his life. But here's the problem. Even if a hint of what he did was true, like that doesn't make anything better. It doesn't. I can't believe he said that. And I'll conclude before Bernard speaks. One last thing, and I love to say this. Vince, get your divorce lawyers ready because you're going to need them.
Bernard, how you feeling about this one, brother?
Well, first off, Nicholas, I think it's already too late for that, even if he is decided to get this divorce lawyers, because with all that going on, the lawyers gonna be like, well, hell, ain't nothing I can do for you, man. You cheat on your wife like what, millions of times and all? Who knows? Like, let's keep it real. Look, man, I'm gonna start off with this. I ain't gonna speak too much of it, maybe, maybe not, but first of all, I want to thank Vince McMahon for, like you said, Shake, Bake, and Nicholas, for creating something that all wrestling fans love, which is the WWE and everything. Without him and everything, WWE wouldn't be where it is. What the WWE wouldn't even existed. I think his father, Vince McMahon Senior, started it or something or whatever. But without them two, WWE wouldn't be possible. So let's take off with that. But to Mark Henry's point, I think, and I spoke to you about this earlier in the message shake bake. Like I said, he's smart. I agree with you, Nicholas, but I think he contradicts himself a little bit. I don't know. I could be wrong. Help me out, shake bake, once I give you the floor. But how can you say that you saying how people are saying this and that, but yet they're buying BMWs and this and that and all that type of shit? Okay, yeah, that's their money. They work hard for it. What about the stuff that you benefit from? I'm pretty sure you got land somewhere in Texas. Your family's eating good. They're well off. So if other people benefit off it by buying BMWs and stuff like that, don't you think that you kind of benefit from it too? Make it make sense. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just assuming and all. I don't know what you got, whatever, but you benefit from it too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. Here's the crazy
Go
part
ahead.
too. There's like this sort of blind loyalty these guys have to Vince. It's crazy.
Nah.
Here's another thing I don't understand as well with Mark and Vince. Early on in his career, many people, this is something that nobody's mentioning. Vince signed Mark Henry to a gigantic contract that was like fully guaranteed. Henry kept getting injured and it wasn't really working out. Vince tried to get out of that contract. Vince tried to ruin this guy. Luckily that didn't happen because he was still with the company for many more years to come. But this blind loyalty is great and all, but Vince tried to destroy your career too. It's crazy to me with the blind loyalty these guys have to one of the biggest disgraces in the business. And yes, he's created all this stuff, but what he's done throughout his life is a disgrace. It is.
Yeah.
His legacy is forever rotten. Forever rotten.
Exactly. And not only that, if Vince McMahon trying to sabotage his own son-in-law and Triple H and all, what to say about you too? So see, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. But like I said, it doesn't matter if my boss helped me out or Vince do this or do that and all. The minute I hear you do something like that, especially towards women, I can't defend you, man. I just can't, because I'm a guy that respects, women. You know, women are deserve to be respected in all ways, all ways. And if any women looking at this and all, I'm with you. You know, that's a terrible thing to go through and everything like that. But you know, with all this going on, it's like I can't back fence up this man. Like I said, thank you for what you've done with the company, and you know throughout the years and all. But you know, I just right now you beyond a hot potato, man.
Him and
You just
Johnny
you,
Ace. I'm sorry, him
yeah.
and Johnny Ace is worse too. Like Vince McMahon, we've known these stories for years. He's been doing this since the '90s, the 2000s, probably the 2010s. Johnny Ace, he's done this for years. In fact, I told you the story. He basically tried to get AJ Lee released because she didn't find her beautiful enough to work for WWE. That's a legit thing AJ Lee admitted in her book. Johnny Ace tried to destroy my career. And the worst part about Johnny Ace with what she did, he was involved with Janelle Grant, and he admitted there was something that happened before he flipped back with Vince. His wife has cancer. He did this while his wife has cancer. What a
Wow.
despicable piece of garbage Johnny Ace is. And I've said this with Vince. Johnny Ace, get your divorce lawyers ready as well, dude. Get it ready. Because what you did is unforgivable and undespicable. And the fact that you would cheat on your wife who has that disease, shame on you.
Not great.
Exactly.
And it doesn't get better. Um Hulk Hogan
Another
again
disgrace.
found himself with a case of foot in mouth disease and a horrible case of cranial analitis. His head is permanently stuck up his ass. I don't think that's ever going to be corrected, unfortunately. This jackass, political views aside, shows up at the Republican National Convention, gets absolutely wasted, calls Kamala Harris an Indian, and proceeds to allegedly throw a beer can at someone. And that there was also a story that might have been someone on his staff, but like, who the fuck is this guy employing? You know what I mean? Hulk Hogan, you want to talk about a piece of shit? Vince McMahon is right along. I can't put Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon on different levels at this point. I really can't, because these are social things coming up, right? Hulk Hogan's a racist. We've known that for years. He keeps trying to dance it around it. He had this terrible interview with Booker T where he said, well, you can tell if someone's a racist or if they just say something, right? Like, honest, like, what is Booker T supposed to say in that situation? Anyway, he's a racist piece of shit. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was involved in every single last piece of Vince McMahon's business, because it seems a little weird that a guy like Hulk Hogan gets so massively popular when you had a guy that people like just as much in the Ultimate Warrior. Why do you think Vince decided to push Hulk Hogan over the Ultimate Warrior or Randy Savage? I don't know exactly, but I'm willing to bet they had a lot more in common than just wrestling.
Yeah, Bernard, you go first because I got something I want to say about Hulk that I want to save for last. So you go first.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know, with racist people, it's like it's like they could tell you off the rip that they're racist without actually saying that they're racist.
Right.
And you know, I didn't. Well, I thought he was, you know, one of the guys everybody look up to and all that kind of. But see, let's just say this: I see some of the things that when the video clips, Macho Man Randy Savage, God rest his soul. I see what he's talking about with, you know, Hulk Hogan. You know, Hulk Hogan is a piece of shit, and you won't go around telling people Indian and you telling people Indian, you going getting drunk and okay, well, how about that? I got some tea I want to spill to you guys. You, Nicholas, Shake Bake, Chat, everybody who's watching on, I'm about to go ahead and spill some tea. See, I happened to come from work earlier, and my lady was telling me about something about Hulk Hogan, and I said we to her about Hulk Hogan and all that stuff. So, uh, I'll just go straight right to it. So you talking about all this stuff with Kamala Harris and this and that. Let's talk about how where you let a young dude take your wife, turn around, he kick you out your house that you paid for, have the young dude move in with his wife, banging her, whatever, do what all you want to do with the guy, and you just sit there and you do jack shit.
Ugh.
I mean, come on now. You want to talk about Kamala Harris and how she's Indian, and let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that. Oh wait, you didn't want to talk about that. No, that's kind of like hush hush. Well, whoever if whoever in this chat knows, then knows. But I mean, you can't you can't you can't diss out shit and then you turn around, you think, your plate is clean. No, it's not, man. You mean to tell me you let your wife do all that shit to you, man, then turn around, you gonna boo-hoo cry like a little bitch in a hotel, man, all that. I mean, come on now. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Call get your best bet. It's like he worse than Ric Flair to me. The only difference is that Ric Flair is just having, fun in certain ways. I just wish he'd kind of slow it down a little bit because he's up in age, but Hulk Hogan just need to tone it down. You need to tone it down, man. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and it's stories like this as to why there's a reason why many people never forgave Hulk when he first quote unquote apologized for what he said.
Yeah.
First off, in his tape with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, he straight up admitted that he was a racist and was using slurs, which that's inexcusable on its own. And then again, he's disgracing himself on this tape, having it filmed. I don't care if he didn't know if it was filmed or not. You should have trusted honest people. But let me just be real here with you. I don't care about politics. I don't care about
Me either.
anything. Don't go out in public and call somebody a chameleon. I don't care if you're drunk or not. Treat people like you want to be treated. And this guy, he's a bona fide liar. He lies as many more times. Like, I'd rather trust a convicted felon over Hulk Hogan with the amount of times he lies. And the way he treats others. Like, I said this to you guys earlier. The John Graziano situation when the jailhouse tapes got leaked didn't paint him well. This guy has a history of this stuff. And yet, he goes, and people saying, oh, but he's drunk. Yeah, but after that comment, he said, well, I'm going to get killed with that one with the beers in me. So you knew what you said was messed up. You knew what you said was messed up, and yet you said it anyway. Knowing your history, and I guarantee you, Hulk's going to come on here saying, I apologize, I had too much to drink, da-da-da-da. Here's a problem. You lie too many times. When you say one lie, we're skeptical. When you say 500 lies, I don't believe a single word you have to say. And it's a damn shame. And another positive note, your biopic got canceled too. The one with Crimson, even though we all knew that biopic wasn't going to happen. It's quite ironic this news came out the moment he made his comments. I mean, really,
Weird.
Isn't it quite the coincidence that this was announced not like 10 or 24 hours afterwards? And I'll just say another thing about Hulk. Your legacy has been tainted forever. This is the same man who once claimed that his comments that he made was a speed bump. He legit said that this was a speed bump, what happened with him with all the surgeries, blaming the surgeries and this. Like, I've hit speed bumps on the road. I've never hit one like that. That's not a speed bump. That's a train crash. Yeah. And he goes on and says all this stuff. And there's a reason why I don't respect this guy. Like, Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, is one of the most important people in the business. But he ruined people's lives. He's ruined people's careers. Go look up the Dr. D. David Schultz story. He ruined that guy's career. And even though David Schultz slapped the reporter, and that's John Stossel's fault. But Hulk didn't help with him either. This guy, I mean, there's plenty more bad stories than there is good. And yes, you could say the same thing with the Ultimate Warrior, but the Ultimate Warrior had good stories. Like, even with Kamala, the pro wrestler, he helped him out when he was in a bad spot. I've never heard a story of Hulk Hogan helping anyone out unless it's someone who loves to, help him out or kiss him. Like, Brutus Beefcake is an example. Eric Bischoff, like that guy too, as well, got carried with Hulk, and he's still. It's just a shame. Like Hulk, I'm not going to ask for him to apologize because I'm not going to believe a single word he says. You should be ashamed of yourself. Like, I'm sorry. I hate that I'm going onwards with this. I've had it with this guy. I've had it. Just lay low, like, and go do something else. Just lay low. Don't go out and say this stuff.
Yeah, he needs to just go away. And the best thing he could have done is just kept his mouth shut and let us remember him well and ride off into the sunset. But he is just absolutely taken a nice hot dump on any chance of that happening. And I've started saying this a couple of years ago about Hulk Hogan. And I'm not going to be shy about it, especially now. He's not on my Mount Rushmore WWE. He's not. Especially not now. Like, there's just four names off the top of my head. Roman cracked that list recently. John Cena is on that list. And then you got Rock and Austin. Shawn Michaels is an honorable mention, so is Triple H. Oh, I take away The Rock, and I'm going to put Triple H.
What about Undertaker?
I know, that's an honorable mention for me too, but yeah, anyway, listen, I think that's a great topic of conversation for another show. Next week, I know we're going to be talking about Bash and Berlin predictions, so we got that going on. And then we're going to have another watch party going on for Bash of Berlin. We're going to be locked in watching that, react, and make sure you guys hang out for that. Drop us a subscription so you know when we're going on. Drop us a follow so you know when we're going live so you can hang out, chat with us, react in real time. It's a super good time. We had a great time with chat last time. That you guys really killed it. So we're looking to do more of that every single week. Gentlemen, it was an absolute pleasure. Not the most friendly of topics we had to talk about today, but we got it done. I think we handled it well. Yeah, and I think that's a great spot to end. But before we go, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to follow Stadium Rant on all social medias. They got the Twitter, they got the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the TikToks, the Instagrammies, all of that good stuff. Go follow them so you can find more content about your favorite teams and your favorite leagues. It's not just wrestling over here. It's whatever you could dream about in all of sports. And like I like to say at the end of every podcast, for more content, be sure to check out StadiumRant.com. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Acknowledge us.